Hi guys, I hope you're well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Blakemore. I teach travel and sometimes triumph. This is going to be a teach video. We're going to be talking about a specific principle that's going to really help you guys out with teaching, things that you can think about to start to relieve yourself of some of the workload involved in teaching. We're going to talk about the 4-2s principle. Now, some of you out there might start to understand what I mean by this. Essentially, what I will have with the 4-2s principle is like a cross grid, and within that cross grid you have specific areas if you receive a task to put that task into. Now, this is not just a principle that's good for teaching, this is a principle that's good for many different professions, but specifically, since I am a teacher, we're going to apply it to teaching. The first principle is today. So if you receive a task, it's something that you need to complete today. Now, when we speak about that, those are the sorts of things that you need to try and focus on within that specific day given. How do you do that? So personally, what I like to do is to really try and relinquish any additional sorts of distractions that I might have. So leaving my phone in a different room, although that's something that I sometimes struggle with, and setting aside specific amounts of time to get things done. So it might be an hour where I just go, right, that is an hour where it's going to be almost like a power hour, God, that's cringe, where I think about a specific activity that I want to get done. The next two within the 4-2s principle is tomorrow. Now, this is a task that you've been set that you don't have to complete today. It's something that you can put aside. It's got a deadline for a couple of weeks' time and you can leave it for that. However, there will be an element of trying to get it done today. So what I like to do with those activities where it is something that I can get completed tomorrow, such as reports where there is a longer set deadline, is try and chunk those specific activities up. That way you're taking bite-sized chunks out of a bigger task so that you're not left to complete everything all at the one time towards that specific deadline. The next two is to help. Now, this is not so much delegation as it is asking individuals for help. Now, if we go back to the reports, this is the sort of category where I would put reports into, or it might be a category where it might be a presentation where I'm just not quite fully understanding or haven't quite got the thought process right in my head to get said thing done. And it's probably the thing that's going to be stressing you out the most because you're thinking, how on earth am I going to get this activity done? This is where you need to try and set some time aside to speak to another individual who specialises in that area. So if, let's say, it's an ICT plan and you don't quite understand the program that you need to be using, it's some time that you set aside to go and speak to a specific individual to try and talk about that area. So the final two of the 4-2s principle is to the bin. Now, these are the activities that you don't really need to complete. And as a teacher, it often seems like every activity is one that you need to complete, but for NQTs, there will be those sorts of things out there that you just don't need to complete. You don't need to think about it. It's those sorts of things that, and you'll see what these are like when you join your school. It's the activities that are things that you can push to the side and leave to the side. They're also the activities that you can potentially delegate. So things like admin tasks that, things that require lots of cutting and things like that. These are the tasks that you can start to delegate. That's sort of slightly into the to help section 2, but ultimately the to bin side is thinking about activities that you just don't really need to complete. So think about those activities that you can go nah at the same time. So hopefully the 4-2s principle is something that can help you out in the future with a range of different tasks. It's a task management system that can really support you. Fingers crossed. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. It's always appreciated, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. For now, I'm out.